Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ESL's King of the Hill. It's time for Overwatch. My name is TJ, and I'm joined by That's Admirable. We're about to bring you week number 2 of the Overwatch King of the Hill. Admirable, are you excited?
I'm always excited anytime anything with Overwatch is involved with me, period. But especially excited for this one. We have an open winner coming back to compete in this one. We have an invited team that's happening, and Complexity trying to defend their title here, and $1,000 up for grabs for a couple of matches.
Indeed. If this is your first week tuning in to King of the Hill, let's go over the rules and the format. So basically we have one open team, and that team is going to go up against the invited team for the week. And then that winner of that game will go on to face the previous week's king. So in this case, Complexity. And of course, it's best of 5 with stopwatch in effect. And the winner gets $1,000 for their team, as well as secures their spot for the upcoming week.
Yeah, so if you manage to string together a bunch of King of the Hill opens here, it's quite a bit of cash you end up putting in your pocket. And as we mentioned with the open teams, they won a tournament to get to this spot. And if you have a team and you'd be looking to play, you could probably do that too.
Indeed. So let's go ahead and take a look at the teams that will be competing today. FrameOne was the team that won the Open Cup, and they'll be going off against Colorado Clutch, aka Clutch.gg. The winner of that match will take on Complexity, our last week's king. And then the winner of that one will go away with $1,000 and guarantee their spot back next week. Now, the thing about Overwatch is that there hasn't been that many completely open tournaments. A lot of these teams are brand new.
Yeah, FrameOne actually formed last week. It was to end up playing at this spot. They have players from all kinds of different backgrounds. We're looking at Call of Duty, we're looking at Counter-Strike, we're looking at Super Smash Brothers, Legends. A lot of stuff has gone into their background for creating a team, but they came victorious out of that tournament. Versus Clutch GG, curious how this is going to line up. I mean, I would have to consider FrameOne a pretty significant underdog to this.
Yeah.
Clutch sort of one of the lower tiers for the NA teams, but still a performing team nonetheless.
And still a long-standing team.
Right, exactly. So both of those things coming into effect, I feel like are working against FrameOne in this one, and I mean, has to be massive underdogs, I think, to Complexity in this one, who just put on a clinic last week.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule for today. There's going to be 2 matches. Of course, we're going to start off with the Clutch.gg versus FrameOne matchup. And then, of course, the winner versus Complexity. And with the Gamescom tournament coming up just this weekend, this will be probably a good precursor to that, you know, judging by, you know, what the meta is going to be, maybe what popular map picks are going to be, and potentially some strategies from Complexity, since they'll actually be competing. So pretty cool stuff going on there. We do have a slight change this week compared to last week, if you did tune in last week. The map pick system is going to be slightly different.
Yeah, there's actually a ban pool that goes into it now. All the maps are available. Teams are going to ban out the maps that they don't want to see. When there's 5 map pools left, the higher seeded team will pick a map, and then the other team will choose whether they want to start on attack or start on defense, and they'll alternate picks until those 5 maps have been chosen in order, and that's the order they'll play the best of 5. Indeed.
So basically how it boils down to is we've already done the map picks off stream. So Clutch.gg we'll start in Nepal, and that was Clutch's pick. So FrameOne will get the choice on map number 1, whether or not they want to attack or defend. And so we'll definitely have to see how that's going to work out. The total map pools today are going to be Nepal, Hollywood, Lijiang, and Route 66, and then Nubani. Route 66 and Nubani are potentials. They're tentative because we might not make it to a Game 4 and a Game 5.
Right. So in the event of Game 4, Game 5, that's what we'll be using. Nepal is sort of the map that I feel like we didn't get to see enough of in kind of the last week's Overwatch stuff.
Yeah.
I always love watching the Nepal maps, personally. Hollywood, a very popular map that was in the map pool last week. Lijiang, I don't believe we got to a tiebreaker on that one.
Yeah.
Route 66 was in the pool. Kind of curious to see it picked here. It's definitely an uncommon map. And Nubani was also there as well. I mean, the fact that 2 of these maps are sort of like the what I would consider like the wackier maps for a competitive pool, it's surprising to see that they're in Game 4 and Game 5 in this instance. I wonder if that's just kind of each of the other teams trying to throw the other one off guard. Like maybe they know some of the maps are strong on, or they're like, well, not really too many people are familiar on these maps who really practice these. They just get banned most of the time, and kind of hoping that the chaos that ensues could be beneficial for them at some point.
Yeah, most teams like to scrim on payload maps, just because they want to be able to just hammer down those specific matchups. But there was a time when there was a few teams at the top end, especially in Europe, that were really picking Lijiang a lot. And maybe not so much anymore. Hollywood definitely a popular pick. Dorado definitely a popular pick. Nimbani is a weird pick, but still falls into payload category. It's just not a map that a lot of teams like. And Route 66 is weird. I don't even know. Route 66, last week we forced all the teams to play on it because we wanted to get a chuckle out of it. And then FrameOne comes in after winning the Open tournament. They're like, we want to play Route 66.
Yeah, we love Route 66.
Yeah.
Duh.
Which is pretty cool. Maybe they want to play Route 66 because they know that not many teams practice on that map. They probably have like the sickest strategy ever.
Yeah. On Route 66 last week. We could beat them if we practice it.
Exactly.
Looks like game is getting underway right now. Game number 1 loading up between FrameOne and Clutch. As TJ said, we will start out on Nepal. So we'll get a glimpse of what's going on here. Looking like pretty standard lineups on both sides. Nothing too crazy happening. Yeah, Calvin on McCree. It's exactly what I would expect someone named Calvin to be on.
Ham Sword on Zarya. Exactly what I would expect someone named Ham Sword to be on.
Yeah, not on Genji.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Here we go. Gonna jump in quick. The Slayer. It's up a nice one there. So Sparks gonna be protected. Looks like this is gonna snowball on through.
Holy
it is
moly.
full of blue for FrameOne. McGravy picking up 3 kills. Just peppering them down. Uncontested. So free point here for FrameOne, basically. Only Slayer falls during the mess.
Yeah, they just sort of came out swinging there right off the bat, and this is a really small map, so there's going to be a lot of fighting going on, and it's all centered around that middle point. Yeah. So the team who takes this first a lot of times has a big advantage, but the thing is they don't really have much space to maneuver around. They just sort of have to stick back into this little room and defend from there.
Well, they did back off of this, so Clutch able to just sneak underneath and get something going here. It looks like Calvin's going to go and check. Misses that flashbang there, but is able to pick up Rohan. Slayer's going to fall as well. Louis going crazy somewhere over there. Can't quite see it there, but just completely unchecked. Every time we've seen a Tracer, wow, nice shot there. But every time we've seen a Tracer go unchecked, it feels like that side eventually ends up taking over some spot of it. And that's kind of like what we saw last week with Complexity. Nicholas just never got checked the entire time, and they started winning game after game because of it.
I heard ZP say something earlier this week in Complexity's matches. You live by the Nicholas, you die by the Nicholas. And that's how it seems like Complexity's team works right now.
Well, McGravy going to find Louis here. Find something else. A lot of back and forth between these two teams. It feels like lots of big group ups and then a big fight. Yeah. People backing up the map. Louis gets a nice kill there.
All right, so this is the strategy that I like more on this map.
But doesn't really catch 2. Calvin does pick up 2 kills there. And with Sparks being caught in that Tulvis, he did just use the Wraith Walk to kind of mitigate the damage from that, but really just picking up kills on the back of everyone being grouped and kind of isolating targets that are by themselves. Yeah,
I was saying this is the strategy I like more on this map. You want to bring the fight outside the point, because if you leave the fight on the point, then you're going to sort of get trapped in a corner. You let your opponents have flanking advantage. You let your opponents just have everything. So bringing the fight outside the point is actually really important, as long as you don't let someone sneak behind and take it.
Hamsword returns that kill. Calvin was trying to get some shots off through a flashbang into the shield and also fan the hammer in the shield. Hamsword, knowing him himself, Spurks going to pick it up though. Hots for shots, gets that kill over on Rohan. Louis picks up Midwest, and Spurks eventually gets dropped down. Can't quite find a kill there, but that looks like it's going to be advantage to Clutch still. Yeah. Despite what was going on. It felt like Clutch is just getting the better of FrameOne, despite that opening that was so good for FrameOne, where they got a big pick and were able to snowball that. They haven't been able to put something together since.
I feel like they sort of underestimated FrameOne at first, and they sort of took a head-on fight, but Spurks on the Reaper just sort of went off right at the beginning. Yeah. But now that everything's sort of calmed down a little bit, that's
look at that Tulvis coming out. Calvin picks up 2, Reprise gets another one. And Calvin going to pick up more kills on the back of that.
Okay.
Spurks.
That's going to do it.
Just not quite able to find a position. I mean, he's had Death Blossom for quite some time, just not able to find a way to get anything rolling with that. Never got into position, and that's kind of the way that the King of the Hill maps, I feel, go sometimes, is when it snowballs one direction, it's really hard to get it to go back your way.
Yeah, and I think this is why Clutch went ahead and picked the King of the Hill maps. They picked Nepal, they picked Lijiang. is because of the fact that they feel like they can probably just overpower FrameOne, who we don't know anything about. They're a new team. They came from the open, and I really like that strategy from them. You know, just to pick maps that not everybody practices with, so not everybody's comfortable with, so just out mechanically skill them is going to be the go-to here. And Calvin did a lot of work. Hamsword did a lot of work. And overall, they just played well as a team. They had a good strategy going in and executed it really well.
Yeah, we talked about it last week, too. The team that's better, I think, tends to do, in terms of mechanical skill, tends to just do better on these maps where you're forced into these head-to-head duels over and over again. Yeah. It's a lot less about team play execution, a lot more just about being able to put out a lot of damage. Yeah. Was it flashbang into a Zarya shield there, and Slayer eventually ends up getting dropped. And sort of picks up the final blow on that one. Calvin, a couple of shots here, but kind of going back to the point, the individual skill mattering so much on these maps, and that's like where we saw complexity really taking advantage. Like Liquid was down 2-0 versus Sodipop, a team that I think Sodipop's a massive underdog, but once it hit the King of the Hill map, Liquid cleanly won the map and was able to turn it back around afterwards.
Absolutely. And this map, again, FrameOne decided to go with the same strategy. They went with like, let's just go fight them right off the bat. Let's just go across to their side of the map and fight them. It worked for us last time. Maybe it would work for us this time, but I think Clutch was ready for it. And they're going to take the point right off the bat.
Quite a bit. Oh, McGravy finds himself in the back. A little bit of damage on Calvin here. He uses recall to recover some of his health and trying to get some more chaos going. Calvin can't quite connect any shots there. Oh, there's that pulse bomb. Nothing. McGravy trying to get some done. Can't quite turn them into potatoes. McGravy on. There's going to be that Transcend is forced out. Sparks has picked up a couple kills here in the meantime as well. Calvin, the new focus for McGravy, but Lumberjack is where he's going. A frail little robot. It's exactly what I imagined a Lumberjack would play. Oh, high noon from Calvin, and that's going to pick up 3 kills. Who's got the hot hand? It's Calvin.
Yeah, I think FrameOne just sort of running around now trying to make things happen. McGravy was doing some work. He was staying alive for a long time. The thing is, he wasn't doing any impactful damage. Everything that he was doing was just sort of getting healed back up by Lumberjack and healed back up by Hots for Shots. So he was just sort of buying time for his team, but Spurks kept getting picked off. Slayer dived right away, jumping into those fights. So they're just not making anything meaningful happen. It seems like Clutch GG is just more grouped up. They're playing as a team a little bit better.
Yeah, Louis plus Midwest getting picked off in the back there. I mean, you have to take your teammates. Whoa! Look at that combo. That's an Earth Shatter into a Pulse Bomb. That is not good news for the team when that happens.
No. Well, this one is looking like it's pretty grim.
Now, that being said, there was a lot of ultimates used for Clutch on that one. I mean, they used probably way too much. That was a Graviton Surge, that was an Earth Shatter. Pulse Bomb is fine. You're usually able to burn that. But using back-to-back disable ultimates like that is not necessarily a position you want to be in. So FrameOne with a massive ult advantage here. If things go right here, starting out okay. Hamsword, Hot for Shots get caught in them. McGravy and Rohan going to pick up kills here. Lumberjack going to be forced into Transcendence. Meanwhile, WGB hammering away. Takes out Midwest, and Lumberjack finally recovers here. Nothing found for WGB on that one. Slayer finding a kill as well. Hots for Shots looks like he will fall. So on the back of some of those ultimates, FrameOne going to be able to take this point. Oh, Earthshatter comes in from WGB. Slayer falls and Spurks looking for this damage. Calvin's going to pick up Reprise as well. Spurks finds Lumberjack. Can he get this done? This is going to be tough. Oh, wow. Great time for Louis to show up for the team here. Clutch going to be able to take this back. McGravy picks up WGB, but Calvin and crew going to be able to hold this off, it looks like. Right, not quite done. Oh, you can't miss that shot after you land that flashbang. That's a critical one to miss.
Yeah, I mean, you flashbang them, and they're standing still. So this time doesn't last long. You know, sometimes you can overjudge how far it's going to go.
Or bravery, or what I'd call that hold from Calvin. He just held the Deadeye for so long. Sparks picks up 4 with an Death Blossom. That could be a turnaround for FrameOne on this one. Reprise going to get a kill after Louis gets that kill on Spurks, but FrameOne will secure that point with a giant Death Blossom from Spurks.
Clutch just sort of ran out of stuff. At the end of the day, they're like, we're going to try and overpower this point, just take that last 1%. But they used the Earth Shadow when there was no follow-up. 3 people were dead. They used a Sound Barrier right at the end, but everybody had already died to the Death Blossom, so it didn't really do much of anything. And now Clutch has to get back on this point and finish off this map.
Gravy finding himself in an interesting spot. Louis and Calvin get a couple kills on Midwest and Slayer. Spurks gets the return on Lumberjack. The beat is dropped. McGravy sticking to WGB, trying to get that kill. Spurks is going to pick it up. Going to find the post bomb on Calvin. Got it. Wow, McGravy picks up 2 and gets Hots for Shots caught in the meantime. Hamsword looking like he's going to fall. Mick Gravy with a Mick carry right here. Louis still doing a little bit of work, but will get dropped. And FrameOne. I mean, suddenly, Clutch has got to worry about this point. They only have Lumberjack's ultimate available, and Calvin's, I mean, we've talked about this before, McCree basically doesn't have an ult.
That was such good awareness from McGravy. He had Hamsword in front of him, Zarya, and instead of just throwing out his pulse bomb all willy-nilly, he found McCree in the backline, ended up getting 2.
Wow, that was actually a really solid ultimate from Prize on that spot. He caught them on that corner, and they weren't able to get back onto the point
and then they just took it
because they all rushed as a team.
Wow.
So FrameOne was holding the point with the percentage ticking away, and then the Graviton Surge didn't do anything except hold them in place. And that's all they needed.
Yeah, that was really great stuff, and that wipe ended up just being what they needed. Give them just enough time, and they're able to sort of, I feel like, steal a map right from underneath Clutch's nose.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels that way. It's 1 apiece now here on Nepal, but I'm agreeing with you, TJ. I think that Clutch used a little bit too many ultimates in that one group fight where they landed a Graviton Surge and then Earth Shattered into it. Earth Shatter felt like it was way unnecessary in that spot, and eventually FrameOne was able to snowball that back. A little bit of miscommunication there about where everyone's headed, looks like. So Clutch on the point first, but let's see what FrameOne's plan is. They've been discovered at this point. It's not a surprise much anymore. Slayer can get busy with Winston. There's a shield down. WGB on that front line. That will hold off of Winston very well. Calvin and Hamsword both picking up kills on McGravy and Slayer. And Louis picking up Rohan, and now just going to continue to find isolated targets. Shots for shots even picks up a kill on Spurks there. Yeah, that's all Clutch on that point. I am not sure about that attack, DJ.
Yeah, Slayer seems like he has a refusal to play Reinhardt. He's been on Winston pretty much the entire series so far.
I don't have a problem with Winston. I think Winston's a totally fine pick here.
Oh, sure, but these engages just seem, he seems like way ahead of the rest of his team. He just died there before anybody else really did anything, and it feels like Reinhardt just has more staying power sometimes.
That was a strong recognition from Louis there in that duel. Ended up double blinking past McGravy in that spot, picking up the health pack before McGravy could. So that denial of health pack was actually pretty cool there. Spurks and Calvin both getting kills. Decided that there's the beat drop and a big Earth Shatter. Targets can sometimes get out of the way and run away, or just melt in the midst of Earth Shatter. Calvin just going ham. Not quite ham sword. He's going ham gun.
He's going ham gun, yeah. Not quite ham sword. That's a whole other level.
Ham sword while you're playing a giant gravity beam weapon. I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a ham sword to me.
It feels like he needs to be playing something way more primitive.
Yeah.
Than Zarya. But nonetheless.
Here's an engage. Calvin gonna use his Deadeye to pull some heat off of his team. Finds McGravy with that flashbang. That's a big one. Transcendence going off. Not too much behind there. That Death Blossom from Spurks. I don't know about that one. That one seemed way preemptive there. So much of that went into the shield. WGB there. Just kind of dropping one by one at this point. It feels like FrameOne is really trying super hard to push, but it's like forced. It doesn't feel as coordinated as it does forced to me.
And last time they just got some clutch ults. You know, Spurks went in with the Death Blossom, got the first wipe. McGravy got picked up 2 kills with the Pulse Bomb, and then a 3rd kill right after, which just allowed them to go in really ham.
Graviton Surge trying to get something done, but no time left.
Yeah.
It's twice that Graviton Surge has been used to try to hold people off the point. Instead of actually just get kills. It's kind of like kills at the end there anyway.
I mean, it seems like when Clutch just focuses and turns it on, it's hard for them to lose. There was that big last push in the end. Clutch, actually, they fell back off the point a little bit, but it was controlled. They fell back off the point just because they didn't want to get trapped in. They hid behind WGB and just slowly started to pick off kills. And even though FrameOne almost took the point, it was never as if Clutch wasn't in control. And so now we're going to potentially the last map of this game. See if Clutch can close it out, or FrameOne is going to bring it to that 5th point.
This is the side that FrameOne won their point on for this map. So we'll see if they can repeat that. Not entering that top portion. That's honestly something I don't see very often, is this side entry spot. This is automatic high ground for Clutch GG here. That's kind of what that initial battle is for. Louis trying to find himself an isolated target. A little bit of damage, and I'm not sure how much this damage is consequential, but the point is he's making progress about the direction he wants to go and find an isolated target. And this is just, FrameOne is so spread out. WGB just gets melted, kind of way out of position. Calvin is the next target for them, it looks like, but now the return damage is coming in. McGravy and Rohan going to find even more kills. So Clutch actually going to lose this initial open despite the high ground advantage. That's for shots. See you guys.
It's very good. But yeah, it didn't seem like, even though they had high ground, that they had a coordinated attack plan. They were sort of just throwing projectiles into the point, but Spurks had good positioning there on the inside corner. He was ready to kill anybody that came in. We tried to go around the backside, but it didn't really do much. Now they're going to try and go for a second little push here. And WGB falling so low already down below 50%. He's going to be healed back up, and Spurks gets taken out.
Wow, McGravy just doing so much. And this, once again, this is just what happens when a Tracer goes unchecked. When it finds the right angle and nobody finds damage onto the Tracer player, the Tracer player will pick up kills. There has to be at least some sort of zoning pressure out on a Tracer. Like, you look to the first map that Clutch had lost where Louis was peppering in some damage, but he was kind of being held at bay by Slayer on the front line with the Tesla cannon. Wasn't able to get significant damage. McGravy, on the other hand, found his way in there. Oh, big Deadeye coming out. Forces off the point, and that's really what that's usually used for. That is very greedy hold there from Calvin, but does pick up spurts on that one. Second one on Slayer on that Graviton surge, but Lumberjack with the Transcendence rolling. Calvin's going to pick up a third. Louis finds Midwest. And that's going to do that. Louis finding the prize this point, and the deaths are staggered. Louis finds McGravy as well, just running them down one by one.
So, big thing there was Spurks fell to the Deadeye. Actually got caught in the very last second of it. I probably thought it was going to expire before Calvin was able to peek around the corner, but he wasn't there. And he was just sort of a few shots away from being able to have Death Blossom available. And they landed a sick Graviton.
Big Earth Shatter from WGB catches up as they're running in, and that's going to be a team kill for Clutch GG. Let me tell you what, TJ, when you don't check a corner and a giant armored guy with a hammer standing right there, that's bad news.
Bad news. And FrameOne is going to have to get back here quickly. They're slowly losing out on the percentage points. They had a lot of control over this point for the first half of this map, but it's slowly falling apart. And Clutch, once they take control of a point, they don't really give it up that easily, as we've seen.
Just for sure. Calvin going to go for another Deadeye here. Again, this is kind of for zoning purposes more than anything else. Ultimate's going to come out. Another Earth Shatter for WGB. Catches a lot, and that's going to be 3 kills for WGB. Hamsword going to get 1, and Calvin going to finish off Spurts. In the meantime, that is back-to-back major Earth Shatters that lead to team kills for Clutch.
WGB is just a god. He is just lining these up and shutting them down. I don't even get it.
It's like bowling pins.
Where are these Reinhardts in my games? Jeez.
Come on, I'm the one who plays Reinhardt in our games. Oh, that's going to be a Graviton surge. Can they find the big kills? There's a pulse bomb for Louis! Woo!
That was actually sick.
That was really cool. We're going full Harambe at this point. Slayer going to try to find some nice kills here, but in overtime, ticking down. Clutch has to hold this off. They want to win outright on this first map. Calvin and Hamsword finding easy kills at this point. There's the desperation swap. D.Va might have been a strong pick here. Calvin at 2 HP, gonna mech D.Va. Start healing back up.
Okay.
Whew.
Calvin's out to play right now.
I saw a ghost. Now Louis getting a couple drops as well, and that's going to do map number 1. Clutch takes it 3-1.
Very nicely played. MVP, I think, of that series got to go to WGB on that Reinhardt. And how fitting. Here we go.
His back hurts. His back hurts.
Well, it would after that carry.
Yeah, it's going to be this one.
Oh, my goodness. He kills him all himself. Look at that. He doesn't even need anybody else.
Sometimes.
Really nicely played by WGB. Special shout out to Calvin. Calvin played pretty nice play. I mean, Clutch all played pretty well. They had some good coordination. They did drop that one map, but it was off the back of a really nice Death Blossom. Probably didn't expect it to come out of Spurks. sometimes Reaper just gets the better of you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sort of the nature of the giant damage ultimates is if they go unchecked for just a second, they really punish you for that. You need to be aware of the positioning. Overall, I would say that Clutch is definitely looking more organized than FrameOne in this one, although at times it looks like their assaults are kind of go. It's not necessarily like a coordinated practice assault. It's very clear they worked together before. I think when you take into consideration the way that some of them are working together, like for instance, Hamsword and Calvin seem to be working really well together on all these points. But overall, you know, not really concerned with what's going on, but would like to see some more planned things coming into the future maps for them as well.
And on FrameOne's side, maybe just switching up some of their picks. They all sort of stay on the same heroes, except for a little bit at the end. They switched over Reprise, I think switched over to D.Va, but that's a standard pick when you're trying for a desperation point take at the very end. You want something that's going to be able to stick around for a while, and D.Va comes into play. But as far as tanks go, didn't try Reinhardt once, didn't switch off any of the DPS once. Spurx was on Reaper the whole time. Maybe you could have done better with McCree. Hard to say. Even though the Death Blossom did them wonders, McCree, I think, just puts out overall consistent DPS from longer range, can pick off those squishy targets, can take out a Tracer really easy if you land one of those flashbangs. So not quite sure. I would like to see a little bit more from them, but we've only seen one series. It's hard to judge these teams based off one series.
Yeah, to me, this first map was sort of a product of the FrameOne is fairly new. Clutch has been playing together for a while at this point. FrameOne maybe just doesn't have the hero pool comfortable enough to be able to get to those really deep strategies where they feel like they can swap up very comfortably and kind of build team comps against what they're seeing. And at the same time, being able to work together with somebody on a hero that you're not necessarily as comfortable with somebody that you're not necessarily extremely comfortable with as well. I mean, that's a double factor where just the amount of time that you've played together is a big product of what I think you're seeing with this team so far. I mean, they're playing decently on an individual level. The teamwork is not quite there, but that's something you build. I mean, they won the open event to get to this point. That already is saying something to me. The fact that now you have a chance to actually learn from the matches you'll be playing against teams that are on a higher tier, that's a building process. It doesn't come overnight. You never expect anyone to just walk into a game and be a professional.
Definitely.
That would be ridiculous.
It would be.
Very.
Very ridiculous.
Very.
But we're about to jump into game number 2 here. I believe it's going to be Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's going to be the next map. This was FrameOne's pick.
Yeah.
And so, pretty standard pick.
Yeah, definitely. This is a map I think it's pretty popular here. Whoa.
Whoa.
God, I bet Lucio's sweet in concert. Just breaking it down.
It's no Celine Dion, that's for sure.
Clutch did get to decide whether or not they wanted to attack or defend first on this map, since the pick was
Reinhardt, we need to find you some new tune.
Some new tone.
Just listen to your own music, man. I mean, you make it. I could do that. I'll do it right when we come back.
Yeah, give me some magical skates. Sure. You can do just about anything. All right, we'll see if FrameOne can tie up the series. Gonna be pretty tough for them, but this is their map pick. Have to see, but I can bet you that Clutch has surprised on this map. Probably the most popular picked map in competitive. Dorado's up there as well.
Yeah, it's definitely one of them. This is a map that seems to be a fan favorite for the higher level team. So here we go. Swapping things up quite a bit. Louis is going to be on Reaper this time.
McGravy playing McCree and Slayer on Reinhardt. There we go.
Yeah, I imagine the Winston was a product of the map as well.
Sure, yeah.
I think Winston's still really strong on the map. Just didn't really come together overall with their pushes. So, a very unconventional position here with all 6 of them being stacked into one direction versus 6 other members stacked in one direction as well. Tries to land that flashbang on the Reinhardt shield. Doesn't quite work. Louis and WGB picking up kills. It is an all-out brawl down there.
Ooh, Lumberjack's got to be careful.
Gracious. Hamsword kills as well. McGravy just kind of going unchecked here, but not really able to put out enough damage to get the job done. He's the last one alive in this one. Getting some good headshots, but Louis is going to find him from behind, just outnumbered at that point. That was like it's like one of those wrestling matches where like they throw like 10 people into the ring and they just start clotheslining each other. That's like what that fight looked like down there.
And then one guy's on the roof with a gun. Yeah, I love those wrestling matches. But McGravy had some opportunities there to pick up some clutch kills on the Lumberjack, but couldn't find the accuracy. He was able to get 3 headshots in a row on Hamsword, but that gave Louis plenty of time to get up onto that ledge and pick him off. So Not the best start there, but looks like Clutch GG is going to have this one moving pretty well.
Curious where FrameOne intends to go with this. Right now, just kind of chilling on the roof with Gravy picking up shots with that.
Here they go!
Well, Deadeye. Trying to find something. Is that a counter Deadeye that's happening? Finds Louis and some good damage there, but Calvin, finds McGravy sitting on the roof. That Transcendent's going to do some work to try to save this. The self-destruct not going to land in the right spot, and Reprise looks like they will fall as a result of this. Can't quite get off the mech in time. Here comes team back for this one. So, Clutch. I'll tell you what, if you trade down enough kills, but you have somebody left, usually an advantage for the attacking team.
Payload's still moving, that's what counts. Coming around the corner here by the saloon. Pretty hard point to contest, unless you have enough time to get that flank going on, but they are just still running back from respawning, so they're gonna have to try and...
Here we go, Transcendence and Diva gonna roll in with this one. So not really a lot of damage being put out. There's a Graviton Surge. Midwest, Louis gonna find 2 so far, and Calvin going completely unchecked. Oh, as soon as I say that, Sparks is gonna let loose that Death Blossom and pick up Calvin and hot for shots. Third one with Ham Sword there. WGB return kills on Rohan, Louis. Shuts down Slayer for the time being. Just continuing to hammer away. Finally getting dropped. Reprise outside of the mech. So Clutch gonna continue to push on this one again. McGravy and Reprise getting a couple kills there at the end, but still, progress favoring Clutch at every step of the way so far.
Right at this second checkpoint here. They are going to do it in plenty time left remaining. This isn't a question of whether or not they're going to cap this payload. It's a question of how quickly are they going to do it based off of this pace. But this is the hardest last push. Getting closer towards that VIP spot.
This one is definitely a bit difficult, but if Louis is able to just sit there and rain down bullets, no one's going to check him. Maybe not so difficult. Ooh, nuts into Prize there, so not able to just push on through. Finds.
What's Rohan doing?
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Where was he?
That is way out of position, and Louis, Calvin gets 2 kills there in a row, and now with this Death Blossom, able to move in. Not using it though, just good old shotgun blast. They're gonna get this done. It looks like WGP just hammering out the damage. Rohan not gonna be able to find this. There's Louis with that Death Blossom.
That was for the style points. I don't know what happened to FrameOne at the end there. They just sort of fell apart.
Yeah, that's probably, it's gotta be some sort of miscommunication. I mean,
4 minutes.
So far up front in front of the team. And that's not the way that you typically end up playing Lucio, I would say. So I'm going to guess there's some sort of miscommunication that happened where it was like a go, 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 wait, no, don't. And then you just, it's
what kind of go, go, go is that? Lucio, go! wait. Oh, too late.
No, it's not a Lucio go. It's a go, no, wait sort of thing.
Yeah.
Again, kind of the mistakes that we're seeing commonly from FrameOne so far feel like, once again, products of not a tremendous amount of time playing together as a team. And that's a really important thing to take into consideration. Clutch, again, been playing together for a while. At this point, their team's play is looking pretty spot on.
All right, here we go, though. FrameOne, before we panned away, had Torbjorn and Bastion locked in.
And once you lock them in, you can't change them. That's the nature of Overwatch.
I want to see it.
I don't see, if I'm in Lucio's spot, I am not agreeing to race someone who can literally teleport.
Let's gather some valuable data.
I'm not going to do that.
I don't know. Is that a Torbjorn outline I see? No, it's a Symmetra.
So, looks like team's going to change up quite a bit here for FrameOne.
Going with a... Oh, no, they switch again. Still got that 14 seconds. Was a little bit excited, but for nothing.
Is this really going to be the hideout spot? This seems to be like a really big favorite of Clutch, is to like hide him in the corner. They're going to run right through it, then we'll get him.
3, 2, 1.
Yep, so
go Ham Sword!
4-minute time to beat. FrameOne does not cap the entire map in 4 minutes. Clutch will take this one.
We'll see if they can do it.
Yeah, Ham Sword.
Not a good start.
Yep, living up to his name so far. Just putting out some decent damage. Lumberjack Louis able to pick up some kills. And Clutch, lots of shots under a bit of pressure, but not going to fall this one. McGravy going to be forced back. Just a little bit here. Looks like FrameOne caught off guard on that push from the stairwell. 3:25 left on the clock. I mean, it's got to go, and it's got to go right about now.
Oh, yeah. Taking the point should not be the hard part in this instance. They need to get that point and get that payload moving if they want any chance of coming back into this one. And there goes Slayer.
Hop in, trying to get something done. McGravy finding an isolated target here. And he finished the job, though. Picks up Lumberjack. But in return killed. Louis picks up 2 of his own. And Spurks trying to find a target here. Can't quite get done. Gets flashbanged. Walking away, just 30 HP. The beat's going to get dropped. Clutch going to easily secure this defense. That's a lot of red kills.
I mean, usually it's the gravy that goes on the ham, but it's been ham sword all over McGravy in this match. This is just FrameOne looking like they're a little bit out of sorts. Every play that they're going for is going for desperation, and even though it's a desperate situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's not a mathematical way that they can really pull this out. It's just Clutch is just taking it. I mean, you can't push the payload this quick. It's just the way it works. So Clutch is going to take the second map. Just what a fantastic showing from Clutch on that offensive attack. Just, I mean, they just cruised on. Did they lose a fight? I feel like they tied a couple fights, but they weren't team wiped, so the progress was still being made. But they did. I don't feel like they lost a fight in Hollywood.
No, not at all. Even on that second portion. And it was GG because there's no mathematical way that they could possibly get there in time with only the 4-minute stopwatch. So Clutch going to take a 2-0 lead, and FrameOne is just going to have to change everything. They're just going to have to go back to the drawing board. And we're even going to Clutch's map next, which is not where you want to be.
It's Lijiang Tower.
It's Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I don't want to be on Lijiang. Either way, so looks like we're going to get into map number 3 right away for these guys. As you said, though, Lijiang's pick was from Frame on this one, and I think a strategy swap up is probably in order here. I mean, this is kind of the point where I feel like you could maybe get a little bit desperate with how you want to actually play the game. You've been kind of getting beat at every step of the way. So you can kind of just keep practicing what you've been doing, try to find a way to actually to squeak out some of these wins. Maybe it's some team play aspect, maybe it's some mechanical aspect. Maybe it's just the lineup and it's just not functioning well. You know, something that we haven't seen so far is Genji. Genji was just littered all over the maps we saw last week. It's so far in this series night and day from that.
Genji
that first one
is hard to execute though, and coordinated in 6v6 because you need to have a game plan with Genji, and the Genji player needs to be really, really good. Genji has the potential to just be useless, and it's a much more straightforward strategy when you go for just 2 really consistent and confident DPS, especially since there's not a lot of people that don't play Genji that practice Genji. Oh, if that makes sense. A lot of times it's, I'm a Genji player. And you just play Genji all the time. And occasionally you throw in a Tracer here and there when someone in your competitive match insta-locks Genji.
Then you practice Genji for 380 straight hours, and you're going to try McCree because McCree really got you, and then it was stupid and you didn't like it, so you swap back to Genji. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So, going to be an immediate initiation, and wow, look at WGB getting dropped. Sorry, Louis once again picking up kills. Weston Spurk's going to return, though. So we'll see if McGravy gets something done. Calvin going to find Reprise. And also going to find McGravy. Wow, takes out Midwest as well. Calvin has had some really crazy moments where he's picked up so many kills and then just sometimes just kind of poking away and be getting caught here and there. But when you leave Calvin alone, it's bad news.
McGravy has been picked off so many times by Calvin just because the flashbang into Fan the Hammer has picked him up, or just flashbang into a left-click headshot.
Rush through on that right side. Spurks is getting caught so bad. Louis going to drop Slayer and put a ton of damage on Spurks. McGravy going to find a double on WGB and Hamsword with a pulse bomb, though. So this could be a turnaround. Spurks is at full. Reprise finds Lumberjack. Spurks finds Louis. And Calvin, see you later. Got to reset that kill. Very nice pulse bomb. coming out there for McGravy. That was super important to that point. That was how they won it.
It seems like McGravy and Spurks are just having to get really clutch ults if FrameOne wants to take points. And if they don't, they sort of just falter and lose. But if they do, they do have a little bit of a chance. But here comes Clutch back in, and Calvin already falls.
Gonna find Calvin, gonna find Slayer. Big Graviton surge, but nothing's happening thanks to that little healing robot. So we're gonna end up settling down here in just a second. There's the beat drop. Hamsword finds a kill on Sporks. There's Graviton surge. Not really too much given the angle to work with in terms of there, but Louis gonna win that duel as well. That was just kind of like, it was really weird. A lot of ultimates got used in that fight, but it felt like they were kind of inconsequential almost, where it was like, you use your Graviton Surge, I use my Transcendence. You use your Graviton Surge, well, you only cut one person in it. Like a lot of really back and forth. Nothing huge happening with the ultimates in that spot.
Double Sound Barrier 2 really stopped some of that initial damage, so sort of a weird fight going on, but now FrameOne's got to get back onto this point, and
Louis gonna find
Spurks does have Death Blossoms, keeping on, but he's dead, oh no!
Yeah, that's not the good way to do that. Just they tried to rush in and the line got mowed down on that one. That's a tough line to break. I mean, you're looking at a shield from WGB. You're looking at heals coming in from Lumberjack. You're looking at Hamsword being able to drop friendly shields and also run in front and tank a little bit with their own. You're looking at hot shots getting the passive healing, and then Louis flanking, and Calvin is just firing shots down the middle that whole time's happening. That's a tough line to break if you intend to do it in a straight one. Transcendent's gonna come out. There's the Death Blossom. Can't quite find it. That's gonna be triple for Calvin with that Deadeye. That is bad news for FrameOne because this is the fight they needed to win. Calvin picks up 4th with Rohan. Don't challenge McCree to a duel. Like, that's a bad idea.
That's one of those things where you sort of have to have that, coordination to where, hey, we haven't seen a Deadeye in a while. We can't go all in yet until that comes out. And they had a chance to sort of duck behind that house there, to go around it. But I think at that point, they were just in desperation mode. They were like, we have to fight now. Deadeye came out, didn't really register in their heads. And 3 of them got caught out. So lapse in judgment there, who knows? But Clutch GG takes the first point. Now just 2 points away from taking this map, which means they would take the series 3-0. Dominant play coming out so far from them.
Yeah, I mean, at the end there for Frame, they really did not have an option of just be recklessly aggressive and hope that it worked out. The thing that I've been noticing is that they're not spreading it all. They're not getting a good spread as a team. They're just kind of running through and hoping it ends up working out. Really finding some flank targets here. Ooh, Discord from Midwest on the side. That's taking a bit of damage as well.
Discord on Tracer seems a bit redundant.
They're just, Rohan and McCravy get both dropped by Hamsword. Slayer very low, but Hamsword's gonna get dropped as well. So, we got ourselves a little bit of a fight here, boys. Calvin trying to find some kills here. Shields, Slayer's so low, but don't fire into those Zarya shields. That's good for Zarya. Lumberjack and Louis gonna find a couple of fights here, and Calvin looking like that Louis and Calvin and crew are going to be able to hold this one off. Yep, Louis, after he picks up the double, just smooth sailing.
I just don't know how they're supposed to win. It just seems like at every turn, Clutch is just winning all these fights. It seemed like FrameOne had a nice little positioning advantage there, and Slayer got in there, but just started taking too much damage. He had to back off for a second, and even though they were able to pick up a few kills early, Clutch GG just took over the point. Having that Reinhardt on this map, I feel, is pretty crucial. Even though Winston can cause some chaos, there's so many short corridors that you need, especially if you're running like McCree to hide behind. I don't know.
Gravy gets dropped after picking up a kill on WGB, but FrameOne has taken so much damage this entry, I don't think it's going to quite work. Calvin about half. Hots for shots. Focus as well. Hamsword finds that kill onto Slayer. Really trying to do work. There's a beat drop. Some breath of air for Clutch. He's able to find maybe some room here, but look at that Graviton surge into the Earth Shatter from, oh my gosh, WGB. What on earth? WGB just needs to only play Reinhardt. Like, just that's it. Just only play Reinhardt.
I mean, that's what he's done. He hasn't played anything else.
That Earth Shatter set up the kill on everyone after that. Because once you pick up those kills, you're outnumbering the other team. It doesn't even matter who's getting the kills at that point. It just steamrolls because of that setup from WGB. Now, granted, partial on the back of Graviton Surge. But I digress. Just nailing Earth Shatters at all the right times, like when they're important.
It's good communication, too. Or else his team just knows that if there's ever 5 people in one spot, there's going to be an Earth Shatter.
Slayer gets dropped by Calvin and Louis. Smites back. He's in Primal Rage. Hamsword picks up a kill on the Gravy. Louis finds another under a prize. That was FrameOne dropping the beat, getting in, and Primal Rage used from Slayer. Slayer died. I think Slayer was the first person to die in that fight. And it started with 1,000 HP. Now, granted, that's on the back of Discord. But this is what we're seeing from FrameOne over and over again. It's kind of just a reckless heat to consequence and stringing in one by one. They're not coordinated attacks.
And it seems that's sort of been the way that it's been going. Reinhardt is sort of just a plug-and-play tank. Reinhardt you just put into every comp, and Reinhardt has that sort of linear playstyle where your team hides behind you and you make a coordinated push in. It sort of gives you an excuse to group up. Whereas Reinhardt is a little bit of a, or sorry, Winston is a little bit of like a wild card. Reinhardt, or Winston, sorry, you really have to have a coordinated push because the mechanics of the hero don't give you an excuse to have a coordinated push, if that makes any sense. And so Slayer just seems like he's running in. The rest of his team maybe seems afraid, or they get distracted by something else that's happening, and Slayer just dies, and then the rest of the team is left without a front line, without a tank to protect them. And now Slayer's going to go over to the Reinhardt. So I really like the choice, especially for this point.
One of my favorite parts of the game is the Reinhardt shield breaking phase where both teams just firing away. WGB going to get focused here as they try to run through, but Hamsword built up a nice charge there. So Louis, WGB, and Hamsword picking up kills. Louis make that second for Hamsword as well. Calvin gets his hand
just lining up
there
for him
as well, and that's a team kill. So something else that's really happening here is just the damage output from Clutch. They're finding the right angles. They're getting a good spread. FrameOne is staying grouped together while Clutch is taking some sort of spread to get a crossfire going. That is going to increase the amount of damage your team outputs. That's super important. It needs to happen. Just firing into whoever's there. Look for this pulse bomb. Can't quite find it. But Gravy gonna get dropped. Move over to.
That pulse bomb didn't find any kills, but it split the team up. And it sort of forced FrameOne to go further towards the point when they probably didn't want to yet. Maybe waiting on other ultimates, and it feels like they're just lining up right now for Louis, who keeps getting what feels like free kills. Calvin's on the front, Louis around the backside, and it just doesn't feel like FrameOne's able to get anything going here, as Clutch already has 50% on this point, and this looks like it's going to be a 3-0 for the map and for the series for Clutch.
Yeah, at this point, FrameOne, I feel like it's maybe like a bit of morale where you're like, ah, we're just getting beat. So, oh my gosh, no way.
Well, Reinhardt's shield is in the way.
Oh, it's a double. WGB and Louis get their hand in there, make that. Oh, just another team kill. I mean, just everything for Clutch has been spot on. They have coordinated everything better than FrameOne in this series, and it's showing in the score.
Nice little reaction there from Calvin. Reinhardt's shield was up, but as soon as a couple members stepped out from outside of it, fired it off. Able to pick up two.
Yep.
Rest of the team cleans up. Another team kill. And this looks like it's the end of the line for FrameOne.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something there. Louis looking for a pulse bomb. Can't quite find the moment. Oh, nice Earth Shatter. Catches McGravy there. And that one pick. On top of that is the pulse bomb. Louis gets 3 thanks to that Novestein. Make that a 4th. Bada bing, bada boom. Dust off the hands. Now do it.
That's it. It's like they wanted them to. They're like, okay, get on the point real quick so we can Graviton Surge into Pulse Bomb you. All right. Play the game's got to be the Pulse Bomb at the end.
Louis.
Oh, no, it's a shut. Oh.
Louis did so good this entire series.
Bloop.
Oh my gosh.
Just so gingerly. Bloop. Right in the middle of them. Easy peasy.
That's the sound a pulse bomb makes.
Boop, bloop. Exactly.
Remember that.
But that's Colorado Clutch taking the series 3-0 over FrameOne, and that was a incredible performance. Player of the series, I don't know, it's actually really tough. WGB in game one, in map 1, Calvin in map 2, Louis in map 3.
I think if you got to pick one, it's got to be Louis. Louis was winning all of the Tracer duels that were taking place, was finding great spots for pulse bombs, was getting great flanks off. And when you have to pay attention to a Tracer, and the Tracer can actually stay alive and not die during that, it opens up damage for the rest of your team. And that was where Clutch was being able to capitalize, was on that particular resource. And so I think Louis was really being kind of an opener for the entire team at that point, really a catalyst to what was seen in here. FrameOne, though, did win the Open, but a new team versus an established team. This is a major difference between what you're going to see in practice. FrameOne, I think, is a pretty significant underdog to Clutch. Clutch, I think, is a pretty significant underdog to Complexity. So this is kind of the stepping stone for this. Can Clutch do the same thing that they did versus FrameOne to Complexity? I obviously don't think so, but I don't think it's going to be quite the same as Complexity doing to Clutch what Clutch did to FrameOne. So,
well, it might give them some confidence, some momentum, but we'll definitely have to see. But of course, you mentioned FrameOne came from the Open, and you guys can compete in the Open too if you think you have what it takes. If you have a group of friends or a team that wants to get started in some Overwatch Cups, you can head over to ESLDG/KOTHOW, stands for King of the Hill Overwatch, and sign up. There are limited spots available, but last week we did have some openings, so make sure you guys get over there, sign up. It's fun. The worst that can happen is you stumble your way upon winning the tournament, and you get to play against some great teams in King of the Hill, like FrameOne did, got to today against Clutch. So make sure you guys head over there and do that. We got one more match left here at King of the Hill for Overwatch. It's going to be the King match, Complexity taking on Colorado Clutch. Before we get into that, we are going to have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, guys. More Overwatch action right after this.